Oh, it's gonna start now.
Oh, okay, it's already on. I just saw it go yellow.
Yeah.
It just went yeller.
Uh, that feller was Yeller. And you were that was the vampire hunter, right?
Huh?
The Lincoln, the vampire hunter.
Oh, that's a different one.
Oh,
I'm watching Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies is what I was watching.
ah, I forget. There's two different ones: the zombies and the vampire movie.
Yeah, the one that I'm watching is from, I think it's from the Sci-Fi Channel or the Asylum or whatever, that company that makes really cruddy movies.
Yeah.
Channel or, oops, sorry.
Unique. They're unique movies.
They try to be original, but it's like, blah. I don't know if it's they're trying too hard or they're not trying hard enough. I don't know.
Yeah. Eh, more likely trying too hard, but or maybe they know that these movies are going to be low budget, and so they just churn them out anyway.
I don't know. I mean, if they're just in it for a profit, I mean, because you can just sell it to like sci-fi or whatever, and sci-fi will air just about anything, so it's not like it matters.
True.
Not to be rude or anything, but just sci-fi just seems to play just about anything. Yeah.
Hmm. I caught a double puff.
Yeah, depending on the pin, like some people like they kind of like suck on it for a while instead of just taking one long drag. It just depends.
Yeah. No, I was just commenting on the echo,
Yeah.
but yeah, never vaped. I can't say that I'm experienced.
At least for me, it's easier than just regular smoking because, uh, especially because I don't know if it's just the fact that I don't have practice. Like my eyes get all squinty because the smoke gets near your face, and
Hmm.
then like the back of my throat starts hurting after a while.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, talking about bad movies, I watched the Greasy Strangler. Have you seen that
Oh,
movie?
I haven't seen it. I know Gory's always recommending it. Like,
Oh man, what a movie! That's all I can say is what the fuck is going on?
yeah, I mean, I've only seen the trailer for it, but I've never like actually watched it. Watched it.
Yeah, it's good for one watch at least because it's kind of original and it's kind of like uh, a little bit like a rated R version of Napoleon Dynamite with old men, and it's weird.
Yeah, but even Napoleon Dynamite was bad. Like even like when the opening credits came up, I'm like, man, this movie's boring and it hasn't even started. I fast forwarded through the credits. Um, and like the funny thing is because the I used to work at a department store and they had like a lot of Napoleon Dynamite. Like you press the button and the little doll gives catchphrases from the movie.
Hmm.
So I knew several catchphrases, but I had just never seen the movie until like maybe 2010 or 2011, and I think the movie came out in like 2004 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm
What?
like, I knew like all all these quotes like "Tina, you fat lard," or "I got you this delicious bass," and I'm like, so I knew all the catchphrases, and like we used to just say them to each other because we were annoyed because would come by and poke the button.
Mm-hmm.
So we would just like start saying them to like each other at work as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew the catchphrases, but I'm like, I never had seen the movie, and I'm like, man, this thing sucks. That
Yeah.
was funny. I think it was an MTV movie. I'm not sure if that's.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I don't know if it was one of the first MTV movies, but it was an MTV movie.
I think Joe's Apartment was the first MTV
Oh,
movie.
that's right. That's right.
I forget what that was based off of. I think someone told me it was like a little skit from Liquid Television or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Joe's Apartment. Not all of it, anyway. I've seen bits and pieces of it from skits and clips, but probably YouTube. But I've actually never seen it. I know it's as full of music as well, so.
I don't remember. I know like the first time I saw Joe's Apartment was like sometime in 2010. And I'm one of those people. It's always been hard for me to keep things clean, and I'm like that movie grossed me out so much it actually made me clean my house. Dino's in the chat. Hey, Dino.
Yo, Dino. Or howdy.
Uh,
Hope you're having a good July the 4th if you're celebrating.
yeah, I don't remember if they did anything. I didn't do anything in all day.
Really?
Well, I mean, other than like clean my room.
Yeah. Did you catch some sleep at least?
Not today. Yesterday, I did like um my doctor's appointment canceled on me, or my doctor canceled on me, so I had to reschedule. Hey, Steven. So I had to reschedule, so it pretty much wound up being a free day, and I ran down to Office Depot because I needed to print something up, and one of the computers was down, and somebody had just checked in on one of the computers. I'm like, well, I don't feel like waiting. Screw it. I'm gonna go check my mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you normally go to Office Depot?
Well, my printer's in storage right now
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because the thing's really huge, and I just wanted it out of my way. So I dropped it off in storage, which, yeah, probably not the best idea, but I don't use it that often,
Yeah.
except lately.
Same here. I use it just for scanning because they have the all-in-one type.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, mine's a Canon one, so I mostly just use it for like printing out my photos and stuff.
yeah.
So that's pretty much all I use it for. And then just like very rarely do I actually have to print anything out, like forms or whatever, for stuff that I would need.
Mm-hmm. Especially now.
Yeah. It's like if it's not one thing, it's another lately that I need to print, and I'm like, I regret putting it away now. But when it was out, I was just constantly tripping over it, and I'm like, I'm gonna break this thing if it stays out.
Yeah.
So I just figured the best thing is just put it away where it's safe and somewhere where I won't break my toes on it.
True. So. Oh.
All right, yeah. Steven says he can't hang around for too long. He has to go run an errand, but if we're still around, he'll drop by again. That's cool. I mean, no problem. I mean, everybody has
Yeah.
their own thing they need to do. So no big deal.
And like I said earlier, have a happy 4th of July.
No biggie.
No biggie.
Yeah.
And Dino subscribed to me. Thanks for the sub, Dino.
Cool.
Just right now, or a couple minutes ago, actually, before the stream. I mean, not the stream, before the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thanks, Dino.
Awesome.
I don't put out new videos very often, but when I do, it's just takes me a while because, of course, I do the daily grind. Have a regular 8 to 5, so
Yeah.
um, and then life, you know, life stuff.
Well, I think what you do is a lot more detailed than what I do also, so it takes more time also.
Yeah. I mean, I get get called in when I'm not working, as you've heard me complain about.
Yeah, that you're on call.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. Hey, Deacon. Not gonna do too much typing here because just because
Plus, I don't wanna.
I don't wanna.
I don't
Damn it.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna try the game thing again. Hopefully I can get the audio situation. And that's what, like I said, I was playing around with the audio earlier, and I always have to set my settings back to what they were before, and it's kind of hard to do that. And I just said I was gonna stream with you, so it's kind of like I didn't want to linger too long trying to figure it out and try to get those settings just where I want them, and I'd rather kind of test before and then start. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you really want to do that or continue to do that, but
We can always try it again, or I don't know if you have like a Steam account. Like I think it's really funny. I don't remember the name of it. It's a game that I used to play every once in a blue moon. I think it's a Resident Evil one. I don't remember what it's called, but it's more like a typing game. So it's like you had to like type really fast in order like to make in order to kill the zombie or whatever it was that was attacking you. But the sentences would be like this really random and silly stuff. So it's hard not to laugh and then keep typing, which it's just really fun and silly.
yeah, I think it might be Typing of the Dead, but I'm not too sure.
That sounds about right. I haven't logged into my account in a long time, so I forget what I have on there.
On Steam,
Yeah.
I have a account too, but the only games I have are that Jackbox game, and the Don't Starve. Don't Starve, yeah. Some other ones, Alien Swarm, some free ones.
Yeah. There was I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a musical one where like you can play your own music and it'll auto set to like the tone or the rhythm. And there's really like no score or anything. It's kind of like a little roller coaster thing, and you just go along catching like the little I forget what style of game it's called, but it's more like a mellow chill out type thing. You know, like when you're stressed, because it has like the flowing motions, and then you go through and you hit like certain colors or whatever, and it'll change like the colors of the screen. So it's more like a stress relief thing. It's not like a game. But that one's really fun, and it just lets you chill out to your own music. So it just adjusts to whatever it is that you're listening to.
That reminds me of the app that you can pop bubble wrap, a stress reliever type thing.
I've never heard of that one.
You know how people do that? They pop bubble wrap to relieve stress.
I don't do it for stress. I just do it because I like the little snappy sounds.
You can't resist it either when you see it. When you see the bubble wrap, just
Oh,
can't.
my favorite thing is showing up Monday morning with a sheet of bubble wrap, like when all your coworkers are hungover, and then just start snapping it. What? I didn't know you didn't feel well.
Right.
Or when someone's sick and they have like a really bad headache, just like start snapping it. Yeah. Depending on the job, obviously, some places work for it and some don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I work at a call center, so I can't just sit there snapping bubble wrap anymore. It worked when I used to work at a store.
Yeah. Well, at the call center, at least you can roll around saying you're fired. You're fired.
I wish. Yeah. But that was one of the things I would do when I was younger and I was being bratty because I didn't like the supervisor. They show up hungover, I start snapping the bubble wrap.
Man.
We all do stuff like that when we're young.
Yeah. I can only imagine. You probably would have been fun to work with. That's all I can say.
I don't know. I used to work at Fry's, and it was usually pretty fun there because there's like so many different people that come through, and that's like back when it used to be busy before like it slowed down and everything. Like now you go in there and you can see like tumbleweed flying across the floor or something.
Fries. Yeah.
Like there was this one agitated customer that would come in like because we always had to say, you know, like thanks for shopping at Fry's or whatever. And some lady like spat back at me like this is how long ago it was. She's like, oh, well, I'm only here because Circuit City closed. And I'm like in the back of my head, I don't care. I have to say that.
Yeah. Funny thing is, I have trouble finding record stores now.
Mm.
Um, and I was gonna kind of start collecting a little bit, but there's no more record stores. Of course,
I
you
know
have
Barnes
your
and Noble started selling records, and I'm like, that's just weird. But I get most of mine online, and I'm like, they actually package them up really good. So I mean, you get them, and they don't have dog-eared corners or anything. They show up just perfect.
yeah.
At least in my experience, they've always been really nicely packaged.
Oh, and I forget CD Exchange and those guys.
I used to go to CD Exchange. I think there was one near Ingram or somewhere, and then just a little ways down there was like a Planet K. So that was my route.
So you gotta stop by the Planet K.
Yeah. Well, first you got to pick up your tunes. Yeah.
Before you pick up your bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I once accidentally broke a pipe, and then we threw a funeral for it.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty funny. Well, it's funny now. I think at the time, like, you don't realize like how silly you're being until later.
We gathered here today to remember our fallen.
Something.
something.
Yeah. And then you have the incidents where other people break your stuff and they're like, I'm sorry. And I go, I didn't like that one anyway. I have a backup. Like, it's different if you broke my favorite one.
Yeah. At least it came of good use, at least.
Yeah. And it was always funny because like when stuff starts sticking to the resin and like nobody really wants to clean it out because they want to see like how packed full they can make the whole thing. But I would always like clean the bowl and they're like, well, how does your bowl always stay clean? It's always all nice and easy to use and mine's always all gross. I go, Q-tip and rubbing alcohol. Hello.
And just put it in your mouth and wish it around.
Gross. Yeah.
I'm just joking. I don't know.
That's funny. Here Lies Pipe did its job without complaint. Your smoke shall be missed. No, I had a really awesome one back in the day. Like it transitioned kind of like that ombre thing before that was like really popular. So it would like be a dark purple and then it would go into like fade into a white. So when it was clean, it actually had this really cool glow to it. And then when it was dirty, it looked more metallic and the white bits had like a bluish tone to it. So it was really cool, but I've never found another one exactly like it.
Wow.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Sounds like a hit.
Yeah, I like that color changing stuff. It's fun to see it change color the dirtier it gets. Although that's not a good motivator.
No.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So yeah, I watched the Greasy Strangler and the what was it? Predator 1 and 2 because I saw we were interested in because of the trailers that were coming out for the new one that was coming
Oh,
out.
I haven't checked that out yet.
But
I've been meaning since like 2 years ago to review Predator and then do Alien versus Predator, and I still haven't done it.
yeah, Deacon says it's not dirt, it's patina.
It's resin.
It's a resin.
I wasn't calling it dirt. I was saying the pipe looks dirty from all the use and everything that stays all built up in there. Gotta go. We'll be back if you are still on. Good night. Alrighty. Be careful. Have fun with the family.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my son wanted to see. Well, had been wanting to see Black Panther, so we watched that today actually.
I haven't seen that one yet. I heard it was awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, he's into the Marvel, of course. So Marvel Universe movies. So
Yeah, I'm like a casual viewer, but I've like never read any of the comic books. So I mean, I admit to it. I'm more like the comic book movie watcher. I'm not like a comic book person. So I'm not trying to be a poser. I admit I don't know anything about it.
no, well, you do know, you knew about Batman, Batman or DC comics anyway. Not the
A little
not
bit.
yeah.
My brother's a comic book nerd, so it's like whenever there's something I don't know or don't understand, that's who I go to.
Uh,
Learned.
you just call him up.
Yeah.
Is he a collector as well?
He used to be a collector. I think sometime last year he just finally got rid of all of his comic books.
What? Don't you know they're gonna be valuable?
Uh,
no,
got
I guess
nothing for him.
possibly, yeah, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, especially if you're into the reading
Mm.
aspect. If you're not a collector, you buy two or three of the first or whatever it is.
No,
How you?
I do the omnibus, and I just get it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
Deacon says Black Panther 8 out of 10, and you don't need any foreknowledge as they explain it all in the movie's opening. Well, that works. Makes it
hmm
easier to digest. I think that's kind of like the general approach is they're going for like the casual viewer. Um, and I think that's like a lot of where like they lose and piss off the people that are like super into the comic book because they're like, I already know this. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get it. They're trying to widen their own audience and potentially, grow their own comic book fan base in the process. So it makes sense.
Definitely.
And then there are that crowd of people that they only watch comic book movies and they don't want to read them. So
Yeah. I just kind of fell out of watching the mainstream comic book. Um,
yeah, I mean, I've the only omnibus I've been wanting to collect are the Darkness, and then of course the Vampirella stuff. And I've always been told, well, you don't want those. Those are really boring. The artwork is the only reason they were popular. And I'm like, probably, but I won't know unless I jump in.
yeah. And then you can say, I've read them.
Yeah. Because I know Vampirella is Warren, Witchblade is Dark Horse. I don't remember if Darkness is Dark Horse. I want to say no. I think they were. I think they were one of the bigger publishers.
Yeah, one of the bigger indie, right, publishers.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like all up on that stuff, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. A friend of mine would collect the heavy metal comics or magazines. Actually, they're considered magazines more
Yeah.
than comics. But he was really into the subscribing. I don't know if he. I'm sure that they've discontinued. That, but
I don't know.
they had some interesting snippets in there from what I was reading.
I've honestly never picked one up. I mean, like my only familiarity is like the 80s cartoon, and then I saw the second one, which like really sucked.
Oh, the one that's 2000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh. I don't I don't remember if they did a third one.
Mm. And you didn't like Wizard, right?
No, I thought it was boring. And I generally do watch like the Ralph Bakshi stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, I went through a phase in my early 20s where I was trying to watch all of the classic films, including animation.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta get back into that. I mean, I'm sure I watched them, but it was so long ago. I have to rewatch.
I mean, Fire and Ice is like the only good one in my opinion, but I know we brought it up last stream. Like there was Coonskin and Fritz the Cat, Fritz again. I forget what else there was. I just remember I hated wizards. If you want a comic to read as it's only 5 issues long, try The Creeps. I've never heard of that, but that sounds doable if it's like just a super short one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know randomly, like recently everybody was going nuts. They're like, Batman and Catwoman got married. I'm like, it's not the first time. They also have a daughter. And then separately, Bruce Wayne also has a son. Um,
Hmm.
I forget the woman's name.
That he had a son with?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then his son eventually became one of the Robins, and then he got killed. I cannot remember her freaking name, but she was the daughter of um, one of the guys that obviously wanted him dead, but um, like from the Chris Nolan films, the one that Bane was in. I forget the woman's name, but that was her. I'd have to Google it. I'm like killing my head. That's what I'm saying. I don't know like a lot. I'm
I think
looking it
uh,
up.
I think Robin was Nightwing as well. I don't
Well,
know.
that was the original Robin. He later became Nightwing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, he just kind of wanted to go off and go on his own. I just remember his people would call him Dick for short, but I don't know like what his last name was. I don't remember.
Okay. I think Miss Deacon's recommending another comic. I imagine. I gotta look that one up.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Talia al Ghul. That's what I was trying to remember. Yes, that was the woman's name.
okay.
I couldn't remember, but Batman had a son with her. Um, she raised the boy away from Batman, so he was like all like super into like the defense and martial arts and stuff, and he came close to kicking Batman's ass a couple of times.
Oh,
I know, a little kid.
a little kid. Yeah.
Yeah. But he later became one of the Robins, and then he died.
Hmm.
I don't think he was the last Robin. We're on a different one right now, but I don't know who.
We shall find out.
I don't know.
Google it.
I wouldn't even know where to start Googling on something like that because I forget. I think New 52 was DC, but I don't think Batman was part of that.
Yeah.
But I know that that series is done and we're on a different one now.
Oh, that's right. I've been reading. I was reading Animal Man for a while for the New 52. I
Oh,
I remember I picked up a comic from
the
DC.
the one I was interested in was Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny, like, because even myself, I didn't know that they were two different comics. Like, I thought it was an alternate name between Swamp Thing and Man Thing, so I didn't know any better.
Oh yeah. They're two different, right? Two different characters.
Yeah, see, I just thought it was like an alternate name, and my brother's like, no. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that. Hello, I'm not the comic book geek.
And the thing is from Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
just
don't even know anything about Fantastic Four.
that's just I'm just going off onto the other universe as well.
I mean, I'm semi more familiar with DC because that's what I grew up around.
Yeah. And Deacon
Robin
says,
is Stephanie Brown, first female Robin. That's
"Hey,
cool.
that's the new Robin." Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
And
I don't even remember how many Robins we've been through. I think it's 4 or 5 now. I know at one point, and I don't even know which Robin, but I know at one point the Joker had brainwashed one of the Robins. But then again, we're talking about the guy that made Batgirl paralyzed. 7 Robins. Oh, I was way off.
oh,
Yeah, he kidnapped a Batgirl, did all kinds of like humiliating stuff to her, raped her, and then I forget if he shot her in the back and that's what wound up making her go paralyzed. And then if I remember correctly, she later became the Huntress. And I know there was a TV show based on that. I don't know like how closely it follows the comic storylines or not, but it was called Birds of Prey. And it was old Batgirl and Batman's daughter. Um, and that
Hmm.
would be the daughter that he had with Catwoman. What universe or storylines those fall under, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I get lost in all of that. There's too much interweaving, and then, oh no, we're rewriting this and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up.
Well,
Any.
especially if you're like me and you just casually just peek in every now and again. You really don't keep up. It's you get tangled up even more.
Hmm. Yeah. More of a casual thing for you.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Shot her in the gut and Birds of Prey are what's cool.
Yeah, I like Words of Prey. Okay, so I'm assuming somewhere along the lines it severed her spine. Um, that I'm not sure exactly, but I know she did go paralyzed. Um, I know if you're like more into like the DC cartoons, it would be Killing Joke is the story of how she was tortured by the Joker and how she became paralyzed. Um, the graphic novel obviously was first, but it's all implied. Like they don't tell you straight out exactly what happened. Like you have to read between the lines a lot.
That's another one I have to see or read. The Killing Joke.
Hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of people were mad when that one was being made into a cartoon, and like I don't know if you talked to Lauren on Twitter. I know like even she was like all pissy about that. Like 'cause
I don't. I don't.
she's she's not SJW, but she does follow like a lot of like the feminist type stuff, and she was offended by it, which I found funny because she had never even read the comics, so she didn't even know what she was fighting against. And I'm like, dude, I at least have semi familiarity, and I know shh, you're going in the wrong direction. I mean, I'm not picking on her. I like her. We've been friends for a long time. Um,
What is she called now? She's called something on her Twitter page, right?
she changes her name every so often.
It's Chaos something.
I can't remember my.
But we're talking. Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
I know, like she used to have her full name on her thing, Lauren Rebecca Reed, and I think she shortened it to Becca.
Okay.
Deacon says he shot her face to face in the gut. It went through her spine, and that's how she became Oracle. Okay, so I was totally way off. And then Huntress. Okay. Watch the Killing Joke. They added a storyline that should not have been there. See, I didn't even know that. I've never read it. All I know is like what I had been told about the graphic novel, but I've never like made a point to like actually sit down and read it. So that's why I'm always saying like I don't know anything. I just know what I think I know. But I admit to it. I admit that I don't know, but I wouldn't mind learning and finding out. But I wouldn't fully immerse myself in it.
And I will find it on the internet and send it to you.
Yeah, I don't even know like where to get like the free book downloads and stuff. Like my boyfriend's always like downloading books and stuff off of the internet. Off of the internet, I'm like, I don't know where you go to find this stuff. I'm jealous and I hate you. Yeah.
I'm over here trying to find who you were talking about, but I should stop doing that now.
So Deacon says the love story was not part of the comic. The audience all booed, and even I shouted, "What?" Yeah, I mean, I think, to my understanding, like from what I know of it, of course, like it was a strong enough story on its own where you could have just let it play heavy and leave it alone, without trying to add to it. Like I didn't know the love story was added in, but I don't know if it's like they were just kind of like trying to soften the weight of the story, or like if they were just trying to make the audience feel more emotionally invested. But
Yeah.
yeah, like the main storyline, I mean, that was really strong and it was really heavy, but like from like what I knew about it, like what I had been told about it, it seemed like a strong enough and good enough story on its own. Like I've seen the cartoon. It's been a long while. Like I saw it when it was first out. I have a digital copy of it. I haven't like rewatched it, so I'm rusty. Um, but I forget, like somewhere in there, I think it was implied that Batman and the Joker had sex with each other. Unless that was just like something I misinterpreted or misunderstood. But I know like a lot of this stuff, it came off as just read between the lines. They didn't just like straight out tell you this is what happened and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that kind of storytelling is better, like when they don't spoon feed you.
Definitely.
Like I know when I used to write, I had done a creative writing class, which I thought was a waste of my time because the teacher didn't teach me anything new that I hadn't already learned like along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But like the way I used to write my stuff, like whenever I would write short stories, people were like, "How come this? And how come that? And why?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to hold your hand and lead you. You read it. Hello."
Yeah. Yeah, I think I prefer not to be spoon fed a story and kind of lead into open story after a while. Just kind of
Yeah, I mean, I
let the
think,
audience kind of let their imagination play.
well, I mean, to me, it's an insult. Like if they spoon feed you too much, I'm like, I'm not dumb. I'm watching this. I'm paying attention. Um, but I think that's why I prefer foreign film more is they don't spoon feed you the way like American films do. Like they leave it open to interpretation and they don't give you like every single tiny detail. Like in the early 2000s, people wanted like an explanation for everything, which drove me nuts. Like this weird trend that was going on. Like I had lent my copy of Texas Chainsaw Massacre to my niece, and she didn't understand because like how in the deleted scenes it tells you about the cross-dressing scene and the eyeshadow, the blue eyeshadow that Leatherface put on. Like
Mm.
in the dinner scene, he's still wearing the blue eyeshadow, but he's not wearing a dress. And she's like, "Well, was he gay? Was he a cross-dresser?" I'm like, "No." It's more like he took on the persona or adapted himself to whatever mask he was wearing at the time. Like a chameleon. It had nothing to do with like sexuality or orientation. That wasn't Leatherface.
Yeah.
But she just didn't get it, and she was like confused, and she wanted like all these answers, and I'm like, dude, no, just watch it and shut up.
She really wanted to know if he was gay or not.
It's irrelevant. You're gonna die if you see him. Whether or not he's gay, you're still gonna die. But he was never played as gay, which I thought was funny. That she kind of like had all these questions. But it was like her first time watching it, so yeah, Deacon says, as long as I have some answers, I'm happy. A little mystery never hurt anyone. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I mean, that's like where you draw your own conclusions and you let your, how you said, you let your imagination come into play. And I think you enjoy the story a lot more when they leave you to fill in the gaps for yourself instead of giving you every single thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like I haven't written anything in years, and I know 2 years ago I started a short story, and it's in one of my notebooks somewhere shoved into a shelf. I don't even know where the notebook is anymore, but
Hmm.
I'm like so out of practice. It was actually work trying to tell a story, whereas like back in the day, it used to just flow out of me like second nature, like nothing.
Yeah.
And
Well, too bad you have it. You have it stored away. I would probably want to read some of it, but
yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting. Like, I was telling it like kind of like where I got the idea. Like, it wasn't based off of, but it was, what would you say, modeled after? You know, like how the beginning of Dracula, it's just Jonathan Harker, and you're just reading like his diary entries.
mm-hmm.
That's how the story is told. It's nothing but diary entries, and so that's where you get like the plot. And you know, you read between the lines yourself, like, oh, such and such is this way because of blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just more like, what would you say, like the fly on the wall approach, like you're observing, but you don't know everything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I had modeled it after that because I liked the idea of like the journals or the letters, and it's basically a guy just writing down his memories of his mother when he was a little boy is what the story is.
Hmm. That reminds me of a book I
It's
read.
not sappy or dopey because I never really wrote like chick stories. I was always interested in horror and you know, like the darker side of things. So it definitely has those undertones. You just kind of have um, to some degree, like the journals give you the outline, but you have to fill in the gaps for yourself. What's really going on?
Yeah. It sounds kind of like psychological as well. So, psychological thriller.
I wouldn't say a thriller.
Are you talking vampires?
No, I mean it's like a real person story.
Okay.
It's more like the human monster, not like an actual
Okay.
monster. But that's kind of like more the issue because you know not all human monsters are that way by choice. Like some are made and some are just born a certain way and they can't help being the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what the whole discussion with the journals is supposed to be. Is you're supposed to determine, um, is she this way because she was made this way? Is she this way because she chooses to, or is she this way because she doesn't realize it?
Hmm. Sounds interesting. I know I read a book once similar, well, but it had like little, it had envelopes pasted onto each page, and you
Mhm.
had to pull out the envelope and pull out the letter and read it like a journal, like or like letters written back and forth. It was kind of a weird story, but I vaguely remember what the book. If I can remember what the book title was, I can kind of. But it wasn't. I don't think it was a horror at all or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm getting older, I'm not really interested in writing horror anymore. Like a lot of the stuff I want to write is more drama than anything else, and not necessarily like dark drama or boohoo drama. Just I would say middle of the road. Like you can go either way with it, depending on like how the reader interprets it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I leave it open ended in that sense. Like I don't tell you, oh, I want you to feel sorry for the character or I want you to feel bad while reading this. That's up to you.
Hmm.
So I think that's part of what makes it more interesting or more fun to look at because potentially um, you can go back and reread it and say, oh, I didn't catch this. Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, I think it's something different now. Deacon says, Mama just killed a man, put a stake through his chest, and now he's nothing but a mess. That sounds more like a country song. Maybe country blues.
Well, had a little bit of Queen in there as well, I guess.
I don't know.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That you're reaching with the whole mama thing.
Tell me if I'm right, Deacon, please. Am I stretching?
Yes. Queen.
See?
Yeah.
How's Toodles and PC?
She's fine. She doesn't even care about the fireworks or anything. Toodles is
A mess.
out under my bed.
Yeah.
He was under the futon earlier and I had to drag him out and he's like, I don't wanna. I go, well, I don't want you being by yourself.
Uh-oh. And plus, Mama needs a buddy, streaming buddy
Yeah, I'm not the one that's scared.
attached. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the one that's like bothered by like what's going on, but I do like the company, I'm not gonna lie.
Every time you do that, it makes me hold my breath. I don't know. It's muscle memory, or I don't know
It
what it
probably is. Flashbacks to your pothead days.
is. I'm sorry. I was never considered a pothead. I don't think, because I never purchased it.
That doesn't count.
Thanks.
That's like you trying to do the Bill Clinton thing.
I never
have sex with her.
I never inhaled. I never had sexual relations.
I did not purchase weed, therefore I'm not a pothead. Well, you smoked it, didn't you? It sucks. Deacon says he had to save his neighbor's cat. He got locked out in 95-degree weather, so he gave it food, water, and a cardboard box to chill out in.
Oh. Yeah, I know a couple of people who do that, who kind of take in their neighborhood, their neighbors' pets, actually. So yeah, those.
I mean, like growing up, we had outside cats because my mom wouldn't let them in the house. But there was always a space where they would crawl under the house, and I mean, they would go cool off there, and they always had food and water. So, I mean, we didn't consider it anything bad because they still had somewhere to be sheltered.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like you know, they would crawl under the house. They'd have, you know, like cold dirt or cool dirt to lay down in or whatever. But then again, I guess 6 cats is too many to be indoors. It was a different time when I was growing up. Like people weren't so strict on stuff like that. Like, don't leave your dogs out in the heat. Don't leave them out in the cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was different time.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people more sensitive. Pets are like family, so forth. So
Yeah, they're a lot more aware. I mean, I had that mindset where I don't want to say like I viewed my pets as people because I know they're different. But I did view them as members of the family. that they should be treated with respect and stuff. I think I was like 8 years old when I stopped giving my pets like animal names and I started giving them people names. And people were like, "Well, why do you call your cat Marcy?" I'm like, "Well, why do you call your daughter Sophie?" It's a dumb question. And like, what, you expect me to call my cat Fluffball? Why don't you call your kid Fluffball? I just don't like the way like people name animals sometimes. Like, what would you say?
Like throwaway names, like
Yeah, like
meathead.
inferior names or something. I can't think of the word for it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know my dog's name is Toodles, and you can probably say, "Oh, well, that's hypocrite." Um, but the way the name came out is like, because his full name is Toodaloo's, and we used to call him that because he just acts like he's bonkers, like he's just missing a few eggs out of the basket. So that's how he wound up with the name Toodles.
Yeah. Toodaloos, huh?
Yeah, that's his full name. Like when you say bye to someone, like Toodaloo.
Oh, okay, I got
Yeah, kind of like saying he's bye bye.
it. You lost it. Sorry, kid. You lost it. Yeah. And PC, where did that come from? Just to
That was more like Tweety Bird. Like
yeah.
I did see a putty tat.
Putty tat.
Yeah. Like she had been found and she was like, honestly, we thought she was gonna die because I want to say she was close to being a year old when she was found, or actually, no, that's a lie. Like when the little kittens come out of the nest and their eyes are all crusty because they've never been in daylight before.
Hmm.
I don't know, like, what would you say, like 4 or 5 months, something like that?
Yeah. I don't know
Uh,
when they open their eyes, but yeah,
mhm.
somewhere on there.
And she was like all bony and dehydrated. Like she was just hanging out like by the back of the house. I guess the mama cat was moving them and she either forgot where she left her or maybe she lost her. I don't know. Um, but she got brought into the house and I know we had to use like kind of like um, kind of like a syringe type thing, like an eyedropper is
Hmm.
like to feed her milk
Feeding.
out of,
Yeah.
because she wouldn't eat on her own. Um, and I know like even right now, like even though she's like an adult now, like she's a year old, but she still has stunted growth, I guess, like from how malnourished she was. But yeah, she pulled through and she's fine. She even ate one of our guinea chicks when she was little.
Wow.
So it's like, like because we had her on milk and then she ate one of the guinea chicks and like that's instinct. You can't hold that against her.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, well she's ready to go off the milk. She's eating meat.
Yeah. Deacon says that they are furry family members. They may not do much for the house, but they do wonders for people.
Yeah, they do. Well, in the sense that they do for the house, if it's a dog, they alert if there's strangers nearby. If it's a cat, they eat vermin. So they contribute in their own way.
Yeah.
2 weeks for opening eyes, unless they are malnourished, then they keep them closed to preserve moisture in the body and energy.
Oh,
Yeah. So okay, maybe she was younger then, but I know she was like tiny, tiny. Like I could put her in the palm of my hand, and there was still tons of room. Like she didn't like fill up my whole hand.
wow. Yeah, she was really small.
Hmm.
He or she, I don't.
Yeah, it's a she.
Yeah, I'm suggesting because it's pretty, but
Yeah, and I mean, I,
yeah.
I want to take her with me when I move. I don't know if my roommate wants to keep her. And I know a lot of people say it's really cruel, but she has really sharp claws, and I'm not always around to watch her. So I wanted to get her
You've,
declawed, and people are like, "No, don't do it." And I'm like, "She's going to destroy my house if I don't." I mean, I'm not doing it like to torture her or punish her. And she's been an indoor cat anyway. She doesn't go outside.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that
Yeah,
would be my only
I think
reason.
it's okay if the cat is indoors, but yeah, I'm like I'm on the fence on the decline thing. I don't know. I
Yeah,
know I've seen how much they
yeah. I mean, I know it's painful.
I've seen how much they take away from the cat as far as decline. So it looks painful.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it is. And even then, my boyfriend's like, "No, don't do it. Leave her alone." And I'm like, he's like a really big cat person, and I'm like, "She's gonna tear up the house."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Wait until she tears up some of your paintings, then see what you say." Yeah, because he works from home.
Cool.
But that's what he does for work. Is he's an artist. Um, so that's how he makes his living.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that he's able to make his living off of that. I mean, I know it's not easy. I mean, I know I had at one point tried to be a model. I had tried to be a photographer, and I just couldn't make it work for me. But
Hmm.
I mean, I envy him
Hmm.
that he can make it work.
Does he does he get a lot? Well, I imagine he does get a lot of commission work, so it keeps him busy.
It just depends. Like he'll go through heavy periods and then it'll die down. But he also does video work and photography, so it's not just painting. He does a little bit of everything.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I encourage him to do the photography. I mean, like 2 years ago is when he like first started getting like really interested in it. Um, and I've always done photography as a hobby. So he's like, yeah, I want you to teach me about like lenses and shutter speeds and all of this. And I'm like, dude, you're the one that has apprenticed in studios. I've never done that. I learned everything the hard way. I mean, in my opinion, he has the advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely had a lot more opportunities than I have, and I'm not saying that like as what would you say, like an envious or jealousy. Like it's not like that. I'm just saying I wish I had had those opportunities, but when you have to do the daily and work like a regular job, you don't have time for stuff like that.
Hmm. Yep.
I mean, like since 2010, I've had an interest in wanting to paint. Um, and I just never did, and just barely now I'm getting into it, and I'm like, it's freaking hard. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Um, and it's not like I jumped into it like, oh yeah, I want to do this and blah blah blah. He encouraged me to because I was hesitant. Um, so there's a lot of that back and forth. Like we encourage each other to kind of like step out of our comfort zone and try different things.
Yeah, I think as long as you keep at it, I think you should continue.
Yeah, I mean, just
That's not,
yesterday I finally decided on what I want to paint. So I just need to sketch that out now.
I was kind of curious when you said doodles last time on your live stream. I was like, you have doodles? I didn't even know.
Yeah, like I do a lot of doodles and playing around and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm ever going to like turn the doodles into paintings, but like as far as like actually having a real subject, I finally decided on what I want to do. So I just need to get my referencing down because part of it would be modeled after me, and then part of it would be modeled after someone else.
Hmm.
Thing is, I wouldn't want it to look too close to them because I don't actually know that person. Like we're not friends, so I don't want it to be like interpreted as like offensive.
Okay.
It's more like a comparison type thing. Like I'm comparing myself to someone is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's rude, like to take someone's likeness if you don't know them and you're not on a friendly basis. So I'd have to find a way to alter it um, to keep myself out of trouble.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not a rude thing. I'm not like painting them in a bad way, and I'm not making them look ugly. It's just I'm comparing myself to this person is all it is.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, makes sense, I guess. I was just gonna say that I saw an old photo of Audrey Hepburn. I don't know if you probably know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah,
Roman Holiday.
she has normally short hair.
Yeah, it's like a little pixie cut.
Yeah. And I was like looking at it, I was like, wait a minute. I was just gonna send it. I can't send direct messages to or direct tweets to you, so it's kind of like, well, I can't send that to you. But I was just gonna kind of like shoot it your way and say, there goes retro with short hair.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because like once I finally do start growing out my hair, I actually kind of wanted to get it styled and cut in the style that Natasha Kinski had in Cat People.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of wanting to do like a short cut like that, at least for a little while, like not keep up with it because eventually I'm going to let it grow out longer. But like when I'm ready to start growing it out, like when I'm done like buzzing my hair down, yeah, I was wanting to do like a little pixie cut for a little while.
Cool. Oh yeah, I also watched a PBS special about pets, people and the pets, or kind of like Wild at Heart. I think it was a special on TV, and you probably could watch it on the internet as well. So just trying to
Mm-hmm.
sum up what I watched this week, but it's kind of boring stuff. But well, that's one of the ones. That was,
No, I'd never heard of that. Well, I mean, I don't have cable, so
well, it's on free TV. It's not on cable.
well,
It's
I
like,
don't have TV. Period. Like all I have is internet. So like if I can't, so I don't know like what new shows are going on.
oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, you
Mhm.
you don't tune into the network TV.
Yeah, it's like no TV. Period. Like it's just internet. Like all I have is like Netflix, Hulu, Shutter. That's where I watch stuff. Or
Hmm.
if I'm able to find like a free copy of something somewhere, I'll watch it there.
Yeah. Yeah, just because I like educational stuff sometimes, watching a documentary or something like that.
Hmm.
We'll sit there and watch it. I couldn't find a copy of a Nurse or The Loved Ones. I can't find a place to stream it anywhere. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix or something like that, but
And I recently ran across Emily's review for Nurse, and I'm like, she really didn't like it, but then again, it wasn't that strong a story, so I can give her that.
have you seen it?
Unfortunately, I own a copy.
You own a copy, but you haven't seen it?
No, I've seen it, and I'm saying unfortunately, I own a copy, and I'm like the lead actress, like, yeah, I don't know if like they dubbed over her voice or something, but she talks like she really doesn't want to be in the movie. Like she talks like she's all doped up the whole time. And I know it's like really ugly to say, but I mean, like, cause she has like a lot of nude scenes, and I'm like, she has an awesome body, but she has a total butter face.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, so
Yeah.
but I've heard that saying before.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the only one that's ever said that about her. But I'm like, if that's the way you look, you can't help it. But I mean, she's confident in herself enough to do it, so more power to her.
Yeah.
Have to go as it's 5 a.m. and I need to try and get some sleep. Hope you guys have a good evening. Good night, Deacon.
Yeah. We'll probably be cutting it short. We're not going to have a long stream here. I don't think.
But thanks for dropping by.
Yeah. Have a good night, Deacon. I hope you stop by again. Hopefully, we'll have some better content, and maybe you can join in the stream as well. I'll send the link out.
Yeah.
And have Steven on so Kara can fight with Steven.
As always. Then we just need Dice in the background screaming, "Stop fighting!" I think that's just her way of playing along.
Right.
It's funny. Yeah, because there's not too many people I play fight with, but we just get along like that. I mean, as long as we both know we're joking, it's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I broadcast this out to Twitter, so I don't know how most of the everybody caught wind of it. So.
Oh, I shared it on Facebook.
Oh, okay. You're the. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed you had posted something about scared straight. No, scared. Ernest scared something stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Kind of follow up.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of, I'm always talking to you outside of the stream about being nervous about going live. So yeah, makes sense. Scared stupid is about right.
Well, that's the movie I had reviewed like last October. Like I'm still trying to get caught up on promoting old videos that I never did, especially now that I'm not reviewing and all I'm doing is live streaming. I'm kind of trying to let people know, hey, I'm still here. I haven't quit.
Yeah.
Back.
I think people know that you're taking a break for now. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not all 800 subscribers, but
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it enough to where people know I'm taking a break. Because usually in the past, whenever I would take a break, I would just disappear and poof, I wouldn't say anything. So this is like the first year that I actually say, hey, I'm taking a break, but I'm going to keep live streaming. So I'll still be around.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like in the past, I would just disappear cold turkey. So this is the first year I try something out different because I was introduced to live streaming because of the whole creepy channel crawl. Like I had always been afraid to try it before because I didn't know how. So Gory actually took the time to teach a lot of us how to live stream, and that's the only reason like why we were confident to go on and do the streaming marathon.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually the best thing because there's way more people live streaming now because of that. Because same thing, they were afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm familiar with it, I want to take it into like an even different direction and really get into like a different end of live streaming. Like I was looking into Streamlabs today with OBS. Like I've heard that's the easiest way to do it. And I was like looking at tutorials on how to set it up, and I'm like, man, this still looks complicated.
Yeah, I downloaded Streamlabs as well, just in case by off chance I'm going to use it. But I think I'm going to probably stick with OBS for now until I can figure out more things about it. Because
Mhm.
they give you kind of like a template to work with, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and that's cool. Otherwise, you're creating your own templates, and
I think I would start off with their templates and then later on, like as I get more familiar, like customize my stuff.
mhm.
But first, I have to learn how it works. Because
Yeah,
I look at that and I'm like, wow, this stuff is intimidating. But I'm like, well, I've already been on the easier streaming end of it. So I mean, that's the hard part, getting over the nervousness, and that's once the training wheels are off, you're good to go.
yeah, yeah. I think it takes less bandwidth as far as from your CPU usage for your laptop and such like things like that. So I think it takes less bandwidth from what you're doing as far as that. I don't know if that's a big concern, but I was just reading about it and kind of trying to get familiar with it because that was new to me. I've heard people mention it before, but it was kind of like, well, let's just go with the OBS for now. So
Yeah. Because like even that app that I do my out and about streams, like I had to lower my bit rate because the thing was like so high. Like whenever I would go back and watch the playback, it was like all skippy and glitchy.
mhm.
So I lowered that, and I think it plays back better. I haven't like double checked, but I realized I'm like, oh, this thing's all weird. Like
Which
when
one
it's
was?
live, it plays normal, but like anybody who missed the stream that goes back to watch it,
Yeah.
um, I realized that they were seeing it all glitchy. So I tried to fix that.
Which one was this, by the way?
Whenever I do like my out and about streams, because my phone is too old to work off of the YouTube app. I'm
Yeah.
on an S4,
Okay.
so it's not supported. So I have to go like through, I think it's Livewire something. I forget.
Mhm.
So I'm streaming through that. So the only downside is like whenever I live stream on that, like whenever I'm doing an out and about, it's like like a in real time vlog basically is what I call them, like IRL vlogs.
Mhm.
Um, but like say if somebody wants to like jump on and guest with me, I can't do that. I don't have that capability.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so. Yeah. I I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good footage what you took so far. I mean, I'm impressed just by the fact that you're doing them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad I was able to figure out a way because I was like racking my head for like off and on like maybe 3 days trying to get it to work and trying to figure it out.
Hmm.
And I was like doing like different YouTube apps to try and get it to go through, and it wouldn't. And then like just through researching and googling, I ran across that one app, and I'm like, well, I don't have anything to lose. Um, so I tried it, and my first test stream on that, just because I wanted to see if it would work, was like maybe only 5 seconds long, and then I deleted it. I'm like, it works. It's good enough. Delete this mess. Let's go. So yeah, I mean, I like literally tested it like maybe an hour before the exact same day that I did the first out and about stream, the one at the video store.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw that the message came through or the notification, and I kind of thought, well, is she going live? Is she doing out and about today? And then I kind of dozed off that day. I think
Mhm.
because I think it was after 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and it seemed kind of I don't know. I think I was working the next morning or something, and then I go, oh, she did go live. I thought you had canceled it, or like,
No, I was just testing it, and it took the title that I was testing with,
hmm.
um, which is fine because I wound up deleting it anyway. I was just testing.
Hmm. Yeah. Similar to my Epic Gaming fail with but I think we did a good test run. I think um, we try to pick that up again. Hopefully it'll look better, and you can hear the game as well.
Yeah.
So I hope it goes well. I hope I'm crossing my fingers still.
Yeah, I mean, if I can ever figure out how to Twitch stream, I would probably like use some of like my Steam games and
Yeah,
just live stream over there and possibly shoot it over to YouTube.
yeah. I still don't know how to Twitch stream. I don't know. I don't even know how to start going live or
Yeah, I
posting
haven't figured
posting
it
videos.
out. Like I know Queenie says she's done it once. I'm like, maybe I'm just better off asking her. Well, can you tell me how you did it? Because I've looked all over the site. I don't know if there's like some plugin I need to install or how exactly it works.
And they might use a encoder or something like that.
Hmm.
Some type of a key that you put in, which is just like a URL that
Hmm.
you put into the software as you're running Streamlabs, and then it shoots it over onto Twitter, basically, because they both have to have the same key. So I think that's how it works, but I mean, I might be wrong, or I might need to look that up.
I don't know. I mean,
But
I've kind of tried looking into it, but I haven't like super like spent a lot of time on it.
yeah, especially you have your themes going on, and you probably have filming to do, and then work.
Hmm.
So I can see where you don't want to spend that extra time trying to figure it out. Even I kind of get PO'd because I feel like I'm wasting time just trying to figure stuff out. So, excuse me.
I mean, that's anybody. I mean, like you, especially if it's something you're excited about and you're ready to go and you can't get it to work, and it's like, ah.
Yep.
I mean, especially with my phone because it's an older one, and it took me like 3 days to figure out some way to make it work. And I'm like, I'm just glad I got it to work because I really like the idea of the out and about streams. I think they're fun.
Yeah. So let's look into, you know, other interests aside from horror and stuff like that.
Well,
So,
I mean, even on my description page, it says something to the effect of like my main genre is horror, but I do take the time to talk about various interests. So, I mean, it tells you right up front if you read the bio. I'm like, this isn't all I do, and I'm like, yeah, I've reviewed kid movies in the past. I've done a few comedies. I don't do it often, but I do break out every now and again.
yeah. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and end the stream a little early so you can head off and thanks thanks for joining me again once again. I know I've said this a million times, but
No, no problem. I mean, especially like when you jump on stream with me. I mean, I always appreciate it.
yeah, I really, yeah, I really kind of am surprised and in awe that uh, that I'm here,
Yeah.
and so and that I'm on your channel as well. So it's kind of, huh,
Well, I mean, myself especially. I mean, like even when I'm streaming, I usually say, or like I'll ask people randomly, yeah, if you want to jump on, go for it.
mhm,
So I mean, I try to at least offer or keep that open door. Like if I'm streaming and somebody just decides, hey, I want to jump on with you, I'm like, that's cool.
yeah, yeah,
Because I know like some people are like, no, I'm doing this. You stay in the chat. And I'm like, that's mean.
yeah, yeah. The any of the guys are welcome to join the chat. I mean, join the chat, join the stream.
Yeah.
If next time we do this again, uh, you can share the link if you want, and you can definitely do that. Because I don't know Steven's information. I don't think I have him on Facebook. So neither that or Munster or Deacon or Dino. So it was pretty fun last time. It was a blast. I had a good time talking to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a lot of fun. And I just figured like sharing your link would at least help pull people over here to view your stream as well.
But
And like,
I'm not
I always
worthy.
appreciate it when people share my links to my stream. So
Yeah. But I'm not worthy. No. I always say that to some friends of mine at times.
like Wayne and Garth like bowing in front of Heather Locklear. You're not worthy.
Exactly. I'm not worthy.
And like I was a little kid when that movie was first out. I didn't know what the hell a Heather Locklear was. It's funny.
It's a swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, back then I didn't even know it was like based off of an SNL skit. I mean, I just saw like commercials to this movie and I'm like, this looks funny. I want to see that. I'm like, I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So I'm gonna end this broadcast here. So thank you, Kara, again. Thank you everybody in the chat who joined in. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see y'all in the next stream.